I don't want to go through that again.
For nearly 27 years, he was considered by authorities as a person of interest in the abduction of Jacob Wetterling. But now, with the recent confession in court by Danny Heinrich, Dan Rassier's name has finally been cleared.
Because of this, I lost a lot of things.
Rassier says he really hasn't had enough time yet to fully reflect on the latest developments in the Jacob Wetterling case, but he says he and his family were surprised and taken back a bit when court documents in the case were unsealed on Friday. Rassier was interviewed by investigators dozens of times over the years, and each time he held steadfast in his story that a car turned around in his driveway, even though investigators never really believed him. And that's something that Heinrich confessed to in court.
All along, I saw two vehicles. And in my mind, this was the person that took Jacob. In fact, my mind was 100% sure.
Rassier also believes that there was another car that turned around in his driveway earlier that same day, and that it was the same driver both times. While he knew investigators were looking at him over the years, including putting him under hypnosis once, it wasn't until 2010 when investigators used digging equipment to search the farm that his name became very public. There was also a Twin Cities TV story back in 2004 that named him. Rassier was never arrested, but the family believes an arrest was very close to happening back in 2010.
Our family, some people handled it okay, and some people didn't.
And after that incident, Rassier reached out to blogger Joy Baker and offered to talk to her. He says it was her that began looking at every little detail of his story to see if it made sense.
But she just didn't give up. The Jarrett got in touch with Jarrett. That became part of her. She would go to all these old newspaper clippings and so on. I just can't stop bragging her up.
Baker and Jared Shirel, Danny Heinrich's victim from Cold Spring, have been credited with helping to turn the attention away from Dan Rassier and onto other possible suspects, and eventually Danny Heinrich. Rassier was 34 years old when Jacob was abducted in 1989. He's now 60 years old, and he says the past 27 years have been difficult.
We all agree that it killed my dad.
But he is quick to say others, like the Wetterling family, have had it much worse than him. And as for the future, Rassier is considering taking legal action against all of the law enforcement agencies involved in the case, as well as that Twin Cities TV station that named him in a story back in 2004.
I've talked to one lawyer earlier in the summer, and he said with a sealed warrant, right now it would be a waste of time.
So you're considering legal action?
Definitely.
Jacob Wetterling was abducted from the end of the Rassier family driveway on October 22nd, 1989. Dan Rassier was the only person at home at the time of the abduction. Jacob's remains were found earlier this month at a farm site east of Paynesville. From St. Joe, Jim Maurice, WJON.